How do you go to the bathroom?
Good. Everyone was waiting for that one, right? You're like, answer that. Go pee on the floor. No. Okay. It's a good question. Okay, here you go. You ready? Who knows what a catheter is? Okay, it's a tube, right? Okay, so I have a tube that goes through my stomach. Well, your stomach is actually up here, but through my belly, right here under my belt. Okay, and it goes directly into my bladder, and it's always open. And it connects down a tube that goes all the way down my leg, all the way down here. Who can see? Can you guys see that lump right here on my leg? Guess what's in there? Pee. And I collect it for anyone who wants it. No, I'm kidding. No. And then I go pee. So that's how. Hi, everyone. How are you? Toward the end of the day. Are we tired? Okay, you guys want to take a nap while I'm talking? Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Okay, I'll try and keep you awake, okay? All right, here's the rules. You ready? Yeah. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. And if you have questions that you want to know, whether it's about me or anything that I've had to say, I want you to feel free to ask any question that you have. And if your question doesn't get answered because all of you want to ask me how cool I am, right? Then I'll answer them later. Deal? Deal. Okay. So, yes, I'm here because February is Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month. And that's a really important, there's a lot to unpack in there, okay? And I am by no means an expert when it comes to disabilities. I'm really not. I'm just a guy. I'm a guy who broke his neck, and I have a disability. And I can tell you a little bit about my experience, not only with a disability, but what I've learned throughout my life, now 30 years of being in a wheelchair. And I can tell you a little bit about what I've learned, and then I want to kind of hear what maybe some of your experiences are with them. And if you have, like I said, any questions about what my life is like, what I go through with my life, you can ask me absolutely anything. Sounds good? Okay. So when I was 18 years old, I wasn't always in a wheelchair. When I was 18 years old, I went swimming. And I went swimming, I'm from California, I went swimming in the ocean. And the water was freezing cold. And I went and I ran and I dove in. Now, who goes to the pool? And who sees the signs that say what? No diving on this end of the pool. Good sign, right? Okay, so I dove and it was too shallow. I hit my forehead on the sand and I broke my neck right here. Okay? Instantly paralyzed. Someone know what the word paralyzed means? Yeah? Okay. It means that you can't move certain parts of your body. Right? Instantly paralyzed, face down in the water, unable to turn over. Now, here's where it gets good. I should not be here today. And yet, I am. And the reason that I'm here is because I happen to be swimming with someone who had lifeguard training. The one person that I was with that actually knew what to do, and he saved my life. And for 30 years now, I have a disability, and I live with my disability. And we'll talk more about how one lives with disabilities and different ways that disabilities can take shape in our lives. But what I am most amazed by is that every single day, I try to remind myself of that day when I was face down in the water and that I might not have had a single breath left in my lungs. And every night when I go to bed and say Hashkivenu, and every morning When I wake up and say, Modeh ani, I'm thankful. Isn't it amazing how something that one could think, wow, this guy's going to be really bummed out. Life's going to stink. Things are tough. And yet, I try to live my life remembering gratitude, remembering that even the little things in life are something to be thankful for. And that's a really cool lesson to learn when you're 18. Okay? So that's my disability. I'm technically a quadriplegic, which means that all 4 of my limbs, 1, 2, 3, 4, don't work 100%. Okay? I have so we're going to break apart Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month. We got the month part. Today is what? February. Okay, we got that taken care of. Okay. We got sort of the disability part. But here's what I've learned in my time. Do you know that I have a disability? Yeah. Do you know other people that you can see and they have disabilities as well? Sometimes. So I like to think that we either know someone who has a disability, or more times than not, we don't know that someone might be having a tough time. And the way that I think about disability is not maybe necessarily the textbook definition of a disability. For me, a disability is anything that stops you from fully participating in what you may want to participate in. It's kind of like a little roadblock. It's like those stairs over there. Who came in through the stairs? Can I go out through the stairs? No. So what do I need to do? Ramp. Look, someone was aware and made sure to include me and built ramps and built these cool wheelchairs. And there are people in our lives where they also have something going on, whether it's you. Do you know that 1 in 5 people in America deal with mental health issues? Sadness, anxiety, depression, right? 1 in 4 Americans have a physical sight, hearing, or physical disability. That's interesting. But how would you know if you see someone but you're not quite clear how you can help out? What's the best thing you can do? What? I love that answer. Did everyone hear that? Sometimes some people, like me, are an open book, right? You can ask me anything. Rob, how do you pee? I'll tell you. Sometimes other people might be a little bit more reserved, and you have to be very careful and cautious about it, but I'll bet you $100 that person is dying to be asked in the kindest way, how can I help? That's how you can assist me. That's how I can feel included, is if you just ask me, hey, Rob, can I help? How can I help out? So there's some really amazing things that go on with my particular disability. And the reason that someone was aware that I had a disability and found a way to include me. So I'll show you just a couple. Okay. What? What's happening right now? Are you guys shrinking? What is happening right now? Why? Who knows? Raise your hand if you know why this is really allows me to be inclusive, to be included. Yes. I can reach higher things. Who else? Yes, in the back. Oh my gosh, good one. I can be at eye level with other people. Do you know how important that is for some people? In a wheelchair, they want to see, they want to look you in the eye. Yeah, what else? That's okay. Yes. get a better view of something. So someone had a thought in their mind. They said, hey, this guy might need to see everyone in the back. He can't reach the cupboard that has the cookies. Let's build into this wheelchair something that's going to make him be a little bit more included. But he had to ask that question, right? At some point, way the heck back when, some guy or girl, I say guy, but we mean some person, asked the question, what is it that you need, person in a wheelchair? And someone was comfortable enough to say, I can't reach the kitchen cupboard. So they did something like this. How cool is that? So that allows me to be fully participating in life. And that, to me, is what Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month is really about. So we got the inclusion part, right? We got the disability part, but let's break down disability part. We discussed the fact that you can see my disability. How many people, just by a show of hands, how many of you know someone who might have a roadblock in front of them that you can't see? Look around the room. Almost every single hand is in the air. How amazing is that? We all know people who have the need for help, the need for assistance, the need to feel included, but the only way to find out is to what? Is to ask, or to help out, to give tzedakah, tikkun olam, be a mensch. Do something to help out someone that you may not know they need their help. And that, to me, is the coolest part about Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month. The awareness. The awareness doesn't come like out of nowhere. It's really, really hard to be aware when someone doesn't look like me. You guys see me, I'm aware. I might have questions about that guy, but I'm aware. It's so much more difficult, and it's a skill set that hopefully we all learn that's taken me 30 years to learn, to be aware of those that may have a little bit something inside themselves that they need your assistance as well, to feel fully included in what's going on. And you build them a ramp by asking them, what can I do for you? How can I help you out? And what is it that you most need? How can I be a friend? How can I be a help? Who has any questions? Yes. 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 Okay, so when you break, okay, here's spinal cord injury 101, okay? Does everyone know what the spinal cord is? Like goes from your brain all the way down through your vertebrae, all the way down kind of to your groin area, right? It works like a telephone line. Who knows what telephone lines are? How old am I? Okay, it works like, I don't know. Let's just think about it as a telephone line for a minute. Pretend that there are such things as telephone lines. Okay, the message goes from your brain down and tells a certain part of your body, whoa, that's hot. And we take our hand away. There's also a message that it sends from the brain that helps us move our legs, for instance. There are also messages from the body that travel up, like, wow, that's hot. Or, hey, I'm walking on gravel instead of on pavement. When you break your neck like I did, the message stops right where the break was. Okay? And the message goes from the brain all the way down to that point, which is why I can move my arms now like this, which is why I can drive my chair. But the message is from all the way down here, and different paralyzed people have different abilities. Okay? The messages don't make it all the way back up again. They don't go up past that point, and they don't go down past that point. So my hands are right at that point where they can't move. So they stay just like this. So here's the question. Here's your follow-up question. What's your name? Jace? Nice to meet you, Jace. How is he able to hold the microphone if his hands don't work? You want to learn a cool trick? All right. Here, I'm going to raise it up so everyone can see me. Okay. Everyone, hold on. This might take a minute. Take a nap. I'll get up here eventually. Such hard work. Oy. I am just so... Okay, I'm up. Okay. Now, watch this. Everyone take their hand. It's the interactive portion. Wait, I'm going to hold it over here. Take your hand and kind of let it go floppy. With your wrist. Look at my wrist. See how my wrist is limp? Okay. So bear in mind, I cannot move my fingers. Are you with me so far? Okay. Now, what do we have that connects? Who's an anatomy expert? What do we have in our body that connects muscle to muscle? Okay. What connects muscle to bone? Tendon? Okay. This is your tendons at work. Can you guys see over here? Watch this. Watch what happens when I bring up my wrist to my fingers. Bear in mind, there are no magic tricks. There are no mirrors. Okay, watch my fingers. What just happened? Can you guys try that? Do you think that works for you? Look. It kind of closes up, right? That is what happens when your tendons are really, really long, when they're like this, and you bring your wrist up, the tendons on your fingers, it gets shorter and shorter and shorter, and it tightens up. And so I'm able to use my hands in that way. Do you notice that the way I'm holding the microphone? You see how my hand is, my wrist? Look. That's how I'm able to hold it. If I put my wrist... Glad I can't do that. Okay? That's what happens when I keep my wrist like this. It's a great question. Do you have a question? Okay, Gussie's going to pass around the microphone. Yeah. What's your name?
I'm Ari.
Hi, Ari.
If when you're bored, do you ever just ride around in your wheelchair for fun?
Yeah. Even when I'm not bored, I just ride around in my wheelchair for fun. You guys all know Maggie over there? Maggie, celebrity Maggie. Okay. Maggie will tell you that when I'm on the phone, I can't sit still. You probably see me up here, right? I can't sit still. So I'm just like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, what's going on? I know, right? It's crazy. I pace in my wheelchair, not just when I'm bored, but like to really concentrate. Great question. Who's got another question? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Were you in like a lot of pain when you were in the water?
It's a really good question. I actually wasn't, to tell you the truth, because what happens when you break your neck is everything goes numb. So not only can I not move anything from about here down, I can't feel anything from here down either. So I was not in a lot of pain at that moment, no. I was really, really confused. I'm like, what just happened? Why can't I move my arms? Why can't I flip myself over? And since then, sure, I feel pain when I have a health issue or I have other things going on. Believe me, it's not a pain-free existence. But at that moment, no, there wasn't pain for me, thank goodness. Who else has a question?
Do you ever occasionally forget that you're paralyzed or something?
Yes, and that's when I fall out of my chair and I hit my head on the floor. No, that's a really interesting question. I don't forget that I'm paralyzed. It's always top of my mind, okay? Because, do you guys see this black strap that's on my arm over here? Everyone see this? You can see that? Okay. This strap, if I were to take my arm out of the strap, I would fall forward out of my chair because remember I told you I can't move anything from here down, right? So I don't have stomach muscles to keep me up or back muscles to pick me back up again. So I never forget that I'm paralyzed or in a wheelchair. But because I don't forget, that means I never stop being grateful. That means I never stop thinking about the other person in my life. And most importantly, it changes my view of all of you and all the things that we can do. And it helps me to think a little bit more about the other in my life. So I'm grateful for the disability that allows me to do that. Who else?
Okay, I have 2 questions. Number
Yes.
1, do you ever if you stub your toe, can you feel it?
No.
Or it's fully.
You can cut my toe off right now. Come on up here.
I'm good.
Couldn't feel it at all. Now, interestingly, really good question. My body, on the other hand, is like, whoa! And I'm like, I don't know what you're yelling about. Because I can't feel it. But my body has a reaction to that thing that happened. So no, and yes. Good question. One more. No, you have one more question. It's okay.
Did you originally the first when you how long did it take for you to reset your body and reset your life stuff
And reset my mind, right? It's a really good question. First of all, you're never done. You are never done resetting your life. I'm 48 years old now. I act like a 7-year-old, but my mind is constantly trying to come to terms and try to understand this and this. So, how long did it take me to be able to sit here in front of you and to speak and to understand what's going on and to not be upset by it? It was about 3 years. It took 3 years where I was like, I don't want anyone to look at me. I'll never talk to a girl ever again. But I did. Whee, lucky me. But it takes a little bit of time, okay? And for those people that are in your lives that might have certain things going on with them, they might have a different time frame, okay? And we all have those things that are going on within us. And it just, each one of us, it's okay. Take your time. You'll get there. Who else has a question?
Okay. When you go to bed, do you just lay there? Do you
In
just
bed?
do you not move?
How do I get into bed? Kind of?
No,
No.
What is sleeping like?
Oh, just like sleeping like you. Except I don't roll around I don't move around, which is actually a really interesting thing. Okay? I have to be careful with my disability of my skin. Did you know that one of the most dangerous things that can happen to someone with my disability is if we get a bed sore? Do you know what a bed sore is? A pressure sore? Take a bone. Find a bone on your body. Anyone will do. Really that's close to the skin. Hold your thumb on it all day long. Start now. Let it go at the end of the day. What happens? Something pretty bad is going to happen to it, right? So I have to be constantly aware of the fact that I'm in that situation all over my body. And so I can do things like, here, wait, hold on. Go to sleep again. It's such hard work going all the way down again. So I sit on my butt all day long. Right? Okay. How do I prevent myself from having a sore? Who wants to know? You ready? Who said tilt? Pillows? Close. I thought you said tilt. Okay, check this out. Oh. No, then I'm launching into. So this, believe it or not, as comfortable as this looks, and as beautiful as our ceiling is here at Mandel, And as long as I don't want to stay like that all day, that actually takes pressure off of the bones on my butt so that I don't get a sore and so that I don't have a problem. And when I'm sleeping, I get wrapped in like 29 pillows. You can't even see me in there because it's all about protecting my skin and keeping me safe. It's a great question. Backbone, yep, I got to turn to stay off of the back. So you don't stay on the back all long. Who else has a question?
Do you got a special way to get in the car, like a ramp or something?
I do. So if we weren't in the middle of COVID, I would take you all out to my van because it's so super cool and I had to pay a lot of money for it. So I got to get my mileage out of it so you guys could see it. Next time you see me, if you ever see me in the parking lot, come on up and I'll show you my van. My van, it's, okay, take your parents' minivan or a friend's minivan. Cut the floor completely out of it. Okay, don't do it then. Lower the floor by over a foot. Put in a new floor. Put in a ramp on the side door. And take out the driver's seat. So how do I drive? From this chair using my hands. Yeah, such a good question. It does. It has a lock. Underneath my chair, there's a bolt. And it locks me into the van so I don't, when I hit the brake, go sliding into the back seat. Who else has a cool question?
Maya, hold on a second, guys.
I use my hands. It's been modified for me to use my hands.
Do you ever take your daughter on rides in your wheelchair?
One more time. Do I ever?
Like take your daughter on rides in your wheelchair?
That's the only way she stays my daughter. Otherwise, she'd run off with some guy down the street. Yeah, all the time. In fact, I will tell you this. It's a really great question. I was so afraid. Okay, this goes to your question of how long does it take you to get used to things. I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to be a good father. How was I going to be able to take care of a child? I can't open up my hands. Is she going to be able to connect with me? Right? Big questions. Constantly evolving. I'm an adult by now, right? I should have it all figured out. No. And the greatest moment of my life was watching a toddler who was crawling start to crawl up onto my feet, start to stand up using my chair, and 2 months later, kind of get her feet up on mine. And now she literally bowls me over because she comes and jumps on my lap and like refuses to walk. She rides around. So if you ever see her, she's Olive. She's the most adorable one here. Say hi, and she'll tell you all about riding around in a wheelchair. Okay? Now, let me just put this out there because I know we're probably running short on time. If we run out of time and you have any questions left over, this is where teachers come involved. I want to be able to answer any question you might have that might not have been able to be answered today. Okay? So please let your teachers know, or you can even email me, and I'll be more than happy to answer any and every question you have. Because we didn't even talk about like all the cool stuff like, how do you pee, dude? Or can you go to the bathroom like the rest of us? Or how do you eat food? Or all that kind of stuff. Okay? Where are we?
One last question.
One last question.
After this question, can Michal go? Also, how do you eat?
How do I eat? Do I eat? Well, so behind this mask, everyone hold your breath. That's how I eat. No, it's a good question, right? How do I hold a fork? The same way I'm holding this microphone. There's my fork. I take my fork. I put it in my hand. I do it like this. I got a mask. I gotta take off the mask, but then I eat. Did we have one more? Oh, one more question.
Okay. So,
Shh.
when you jumped in,
Yes.
so it was in the ocean.
Yes.
And I guess it was shallow.
Yes.
Where did you hit your head? Like, wouldn't the
sand like kind of like go in? And
It's a really good question.
or did you hit like a piece of coal? Or...
No. So sand can be, if you put it in your hand, right, and you let it kind of sprinkle through your fingers, it's like, like the sands through an hourglass. So are the days of our lives. But it also compacts really, really heavily. I've driven my car on Daytona Beach in Florida. Sand can be really, really hard if it's really packed down, okay? And what I happen to do, What about ice? Oh, like drive my wheelchair on ice? Yeah, it's hilarious. Please help me if you see me on ice, okay? This is part of the awareness and asking for help. I am hilarious on ice. My chair is going this way. I'm sliding all the way to the left. Yeah, this wheelchair is pretty rough on ice. Did I answer the question that you had?
Rob, Kim said we have time for a few more questions.
Super cool.
And Kim's in charge, so I listen
Kim's
to Kim.
in charge.
All right, so some sixth graders.
Shh.
What do you do for work, and how does it affect, like, your disability? How does it affect your work?
It's a good question. So, I used to work at the Temple Tiferet Israel. Who knows where that is? It's like right over there, right? Okay. I used to be the arts director at the Temple Tiferet Israel, and I required accommodations to work. Again, to be included, right? To be inclusive. They were aware of the fact that I needed a desk that I could fit underneath. I have something that helps me type. I kind of like, right? I had a telephone that helps me out. There are all kinds of amazing things that can help out my disability that some brilliant person, man or woman, had the audacity to ask a question and figure out how to help me out. And I'm blessed by those questions, and I'm blessed by those abilities to do that. Yes.
How do you go to the bathroom?
Good. Everyone was waiting for that one, right? You're like, answer that. Go pee on the floor. No. Okay. It's a good question. Okay, here you go. You ready? Who knows what a catheter is? Okay, it's a tube, right? Okay, so I have a tube that goes through my stomach. Well, your stomach is actually up here, but through my belly, right here under my belt. Okay, and it goes directly into my bladder, and it's always open. And it connects down a tube that goes all the way down my leg, all the way down here. Who can see? Can you guys see that lump right here on my leg? Guess what's in there? Pee. And I collect it for anyone who wants it. No, I'm kidding. No. And then I go pee. So that's how I pee. Who else?
Do you have different wheelchairs for different terrain?
I wish. That would be so cool, right? They do have different wheelchairs for different terrain, but because these things cost more than a car, I'm not kidding, you kind of have to get the type of wheelchair fit to you that meets your particular needs. So I'm someone, as you can tell, who moves around quite a bit. Here's something super cool. In the old days, back when you guys were like, 7, I mean like the old days, they had wheelchairs that, here, look at this. Here, look from the side. How many wheels are on this side? 3, right? So there's six wheels. In the old days, they only had 4. And you may have seen, you ever see someone like pushing someone in a wheelchair? They've got the one big one in the back and the little one in the front, right? Okay. Those wheelchairs turn really difficultly. They're like, it takes this long to make a turn. You're going this, right? Because it's a big, okay. So some brilliant human being came up with the idea that what happens if we put the big wheel in the middle? Then you don't turn like that. You turn like that. because that mid wheel allows the front wheels and the back wheels to rotate right on itself. And it allows me, for instance, to go down a grocery store aisle, and instead of having to go all the way to the end and turn around, I just rotate around and knock the Cheerios off and move on. Who else? Great question.
Has there ever been an accident where you've fallen off your wheelchair?
Yes. Yes, there has. Did everyone hear the question? Have I ever fallen out of my wheelchair? So the answer is yes, I absolutely have. And there are a couple ways to make sure that I don't do that. One is this black strap. The other is, I don't know if you can kind of see. Can you kind of see like the little outline of a seatbelt here? I'm strapped into this thing like, don't fall out of your chair. Public service announcement. Try not to fall out of your chairs. Those ones or these. So I wear a belt right here that keeps me from falling out of the chair. And if I do, someone will help me get up back up again.
Have you ever found someone with like another wheelchair and raced to them?
Oh, are you kidding me? Totally. I'm so much faster than they are. Yes. And there are wheelchair sports. Has anyone ever seen wheelchair sports? They play wheelchair basketball. They play wheelchair rugby. There's a documentary about that out, which is super cool. Yes. So the short answer is we can race. We can do all kinds of fun sports. No one has any questions? Bummer. Yes. Hi.
So, have you ever had like the phantom limb effect?
Say again?
Like where you think like your legs are there, but they're
Oh,
actually
yeah. So, did everyone hear the question? Do I ever have like did you say phantom pain? Yeah. So the short answer is yes. Sometimes if I close my eyes, I feel my legs straight out in front of me. When I'm laying in bed and I'm half asleep and my aide is getting me dressed and she's got like my leg up in the air to put on my pant leg or whatever, if I were to open my eyes, I'd be shocked that my leg is up in the air because it feels like it's straight out in front of me. Basically what it feels like to be paralyzed, and it's kind of tough to describe, but the easiest way I can describe it to you is that it feels like my entire body's gone to sleep. I feel a lot of like pins and needles. And that's kind of what it's like, is that it's just like pins and needles. So I feel the pins and needles, particularly from my legs, in a different place than where they actually are when I look at them. How are we doing on time, Kim? 3 more? Oh, we got okay.
How do you get like into your bed and out of your bed? And is there any situation where if like somebody gets you out, like you're awake before them and you're just like lying there waiting?
Yes. That's the first question. Second is, how do I get in and out of my chair or in and out of bed? And the short answer is, I have help. Remember we talked about how being aware of someone who needs help and making sure that people are included is really important? Well, I have a home health aide who helps me get dressed, who helps me shower, who helps me do a lot of the things that I can't do for myself.
Have you ever been on an airplane?
Yes, I have. And here's how they do it. They take me out of my chair and they put me in what they call an aisle chair. Show me with your hands how wide the aisle of an airplane is. No. There you go. Look at that. About the size of your butt. This chair that they put you on to get onto an airplane, like I got my right cheek hanging off the right side, I got my left one hanging off the left, and they strap me in, and they pick me up out of the chair once I'm at my seat, and they put me into a regular plane seat, and they kind of tighten me in so I don't go anywhere, and then the wheelchair goes underneath the plane with the rest of the cargo. And when I'm done, and I get to, Florida to sunbathe and get this beautiful tan. They bring my chair back up again. They put my butt cheeks on the aisle chair, and off I go into my chair.
Last question.
Last question. Remember, if you don't get your question answered, you can always ask me later. Okay. Shh.
So I'm really interested in your chair, and I think
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Thank
so
you.
I just want to know, like, how long did it take to get it? Where'd you get it from? And how long have you had it?
Good question. So there are companies out there that manufacture wheelchairs, and there are companies out there that make sure that you fit inside of your wheelchair. So it takes a really long time to build. This chair is built for me specifically. They're like I don't know. Think of something that like you guys are sitting in a chair, right? Just a chair right now. Think if you had the option to really make that chair just for you. What size would it be? How high would you like it to be? Right? That's the same thing with this. This joystick over here, not everyone has a joystick. Some people who are paralyzed further down, they push themselves, right? Have you ever seen someone in a wheelchair push themselves? They're paralyzed just like me, but their brake, instead of being here on the neck, is further down their spinal cord, so they have more mobility and they have more movement. So they can push themselves in a wheelchair. So that chair is built for them specifically. This one was built just for me. It's got two car-sized batteries that drive it. I charge it every single night, plug it into the wall, and that's my chair. I can't do anything without my chair. I can't do anything without my van. I can't do anything without the help, and I can't do anything without my friends. And I'm so glad that we got to be friends today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Ralph, thank you so much.